Jim Stanford is an economist and the director of the Center for Future Work. He joins us now from Vancouver. Jim, great to see you again.
Thank you, Deanna.
Let's talk about what happened with Stellantis. I think with everything that happened with the auto industry over the last 6 months, this really seemed to be the one that broke the camel's back. People are so upset. The federal government is threatening to sue. How serious, in your opinion, is this potential move by Stellantis for the automotive industry in Ontario and all the people it employs?
It's extremely serious, Deanna. This is exactly the sort of corporate decision that we've been worried about as Donald Trump weaponized access to the U.S. market with these aggressive tariffs. His clear goal was to try to get global companies like Stellantis to shift production of high-tech products to America. And, the Canadian industry has already been dealing with the 25% tariff on cars and light trucks. Now, as we've just heard, another tariff on medium and heavy-duty trucks, and that's been bad enough. But the real damage will be if we start to see companies shift the actual long-term investment and product assignments away from Canada to the United States. And the Stellantis decision is the first clear sign in the auto sector that that's what is likely to happen, unless we push back. And we have to push back not only against Donald Trump, but against Stellantis itself. Stellantis has benefited mightily from all kinds of federal and Ontario government programs and absolutely has no legal right, let alone a moral right, to do this. So this is, in a way, the first battle in a long war to save Canada's auto industry.
I mean, as you mentioned, this is something that we can, retaliate against the country or we can retaliate against the company. Certainly for the time being, it looks like what the federal government is threatening to do is take legal action against the company. What legal moves, what levers can they pull to convince Stellantis to maybe reconsider its decision?
Sure. Well, Stellantis has received at least 3 different types of government support in recent years. One was capital subsidies for the retooling of that Brampton plant. There's nothing being produced in Brampton right now because the plant's been closed for almost 2 years for a complete retooling and getting ready for future products, the first of which was this Jeep that has now been reassigned to Illinois. Stellantis has also benefited from very significant subsidies for production of batteries for electric vehicles through a new venture in Windsor. And finally, Stellantis benefits from a very clever federal program, a duty remission program, which is allowing companies that have a presence in Canada to avoid the 25% counter tariffs that we are imposing on American cars in retaliation for their 25% tariff on our cars. So in every one of those cases, Stellantis signed binding covenants about preserving their footprint, their manufacturing footprint in Canada, and they cannot walk away from those covenants. Those are binding commitments. So this, again, is where the government's threat to take legal action against Stellantis is, I think, a good first step. But we are going to need more action from the federal government to show Stellantis and then every other company, not even just in the auto industry, but in any other high-tech industry that's been targeted by Trump, that they cannot walk away from Canada. Yes, Trump's tariffs cause big problems, but they cannot walk away from Canada. And Stellantis will be the litmus test.
Let's talk generally about the automotive industry. It has been very lucrative for Canada. And let's talk about what's actually at stake here is that the auto industry employs a lot of people in Canada, not just on their assembly lines, but in sales, in administration. This is a major, major employer for many Canadians, specifically here in Ontario. Is it time to consider opening our horizons? I mean, Prime Minister Carney has been talking about diversifying our trade, looking for trade partners that are not the U.S. Is this something that Canada should be looking at when we're talking about the auto industry?
Well, for sure. You're quite right, Deanna, in terms of the importance of the auto industry for jobs, about 150,000 jobs directly in auto. Then you've got a huge supply chain that feeds into it, and then downstream benefits from, Tim Hortons coffee shops to home builders to everything else that depends on auto workers having money to spend. So hundreds of thousands of jobs at stake. And I do stress it's not just auto. Trump's tariffs are aimed at other high-tech industries. These are his so-called national security tariffs, Section 232 tariffs, where there is no exemption under the existing free trade agreement. The companies pay the full brunt of those tariffs. And he's going after steel and aluminum of copper, of course. He's going after aerospace, semiconductors, industrial machinery, pharmaceuticals. Virtually every high-tech industry we have in Canada is being targeted by Trump for the same treatment. And all of those companies are going to be watching the Stellantis decision with great interest. If Stellantis gets away with this, we will see a parade of the most important, valuable industrial jewels in our economy as companies decide to say, well, Trump's, swinging with a heavy bat. We've got to suck up to him and move our stuff to America. And it would be an absolute disaster. So in terms of broadening our horizons, yes, we should try to sell our products anywhere we can in the world. That's a tough thing to do. The Asian markets, China, Japan, and Korea are effectively closed to imports from other countries. Europe, we can try, and we have tried to sell our products there. But the main market for our automotive products is North America. And of course, the U.S. is the biggest part of that. So we have to force these companies, basically, compel them. If they're going to sell their vehicles in Canada, they have to produce here as well.
Jim, thank you as always for sharing your thoughts and analysis, and we'll be keeping our eye on this story, so I'm sure we'll talk to you in the near future.